And also, by the way, these people aren't builders, they aren't achievers, and they aren't accomplishers. These types of people are drags on society that the rest of us have to drag along with us, okay, in order to accomplish anything, all right? These are not the Einsteins and the Oppenheimers and the whatever. These are the retards, okay, that are flinging shit from you on the side of the road because they don't believe in sanitized water or whatever. They're complaining that the fluoride is rotting their brains, all right? Something is. I don't know. It's not the water, though. This is why I want them to go away and go somewhere else, and let's see what you come up with. Show me what you come up with in 50 years, because the answer will be nothing.
Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh sat down to have a conversation on the Joe Rogan Experience, and some things that they said about Destiny and just about the current state of the planet and of the country really triggered Destiny into an unhinged meltdown live on Destiny's own YouTube channel. Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh definitely struck a nerve with Destiny just by stating complete facts about Destiny and about the country. Let's get into this clip here from the Joe Rogan Experience, where Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh absolutely obliterate Destiny and the woke cult and send Destiny into a spiral of a meltdown. Let's check this out.
You can spot the meteorites in the ground. So this is the photo. I mean, this is from what? What's this from? What is the so this is an Indian Space Research Organization's, I don't know how to say that word, Chandrayaan-2 orbiter captured images of NASA's Apollo 11 and 12 landing sites and lunar modules from 100-kilometer altitude. Apollo 12 image astronaut boots tracks are still even visible. Due to the recent interest in another post I shared, decided to download and view the raw imagery. So that looks like there's some kind of thing on the moon.
It's pretty good evidence.
It is evidence that something's on the moon. It's not evidence that human beings went to the moon.
We're so tied to our conspiracy. One thing that was always said is anytime you're talking to a conspiracy nut, when you have to start inventing whole new technologies to make your conspiracy work, you probably are in the wrong. But he's literally having to invent an alien race being there in order to make this work. That's how we're explaining this.
See, we have things that are on the moon. We have things on Mars right now. Well, we have things that we shot things into space for sure.
Oh, he's just saying we shot something there and it landed. Okay.
Yeah, but it's evidence. It's not proof in and of itself, but it is evidence.
Listen, I'm not saying we didn't go to the moon. What I'm saying is the subject is complex, and it's not even...
I've never understood what agenda people are trying to push with the moon landing conspiracy. It's the agenda that they need to be removed from society. These people are a cancer that are rotting us, okay? We need... What's this? Thanos, okay? To snap. It's built on this... There's like so many... There's so many different reasons why people say this, and all of them feed into the same type of toxic culture rot that these people push. One is the idea of forbidden knowledge. People love forbidden knowledge. They won't talk about this. They don't let you have these conversations. Actually, tons of people have had these conversations for decades. It's not forbidden. It's just retarded, and everybody knows it, right? It's like a guy that walks around, shitting himself, being like, they don't want you to do this.
I never understood. Like, I will agree with Destiny that I think at times people who are on the right, or Joe Rogan's not even on the right, but people who are labeled, in that group of conspiracy theorists, quote unquote, they do go a bit too far sometimes. I think that the whole 2020 incidents where we were just lied to over and over again about so many different things and forced to do things based on lies so many times that, it did break people's brains, and it would seem like that's the logical thing to happen whenever you're lied to by the people who are supposed to be protecting you at all costs, right? So I think that sometimes people go overboard. I don't think anything that Joe Rogan or Matt Walsh say here is anything crazy. All Joe Rogan was saying is like, he literally said, I'm not saying we didn't go to the moon. I'm just saying that it's a complex issue. It's a complex conversation. And it definitely is. Did we ever go to the moon, but maybe it wasn't recorded? Were the moon landings faked? Because, we have some evidence. I always forget the director's name, but I'm not some anti-moon landing expert or anything, but there's a certain director, it's not Steven Spielberg, it's somebody else, who, there's images of him like directing the moon landing, So I don't know, was it all faked? Or did we just shoot something at the moon? Who knows? But I never trust anyone who gets this angry at somebody who is questioning the establishment's narrative. If Destiny is getting this angry because Joe Rogan is simply saying that the moon landing is a complicated issue, or that any of these issues that Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh are talking about are complicated issues, not saying that they didn't happen or they're untrue, just saying they're worth a discussion, and Destiny is getting mad at that and having a little meltdown because he's questioning the establishment. These are the people that you don't trust. The people who melt down whenever anybody just questions a little bit what the establishment narrative is.
The government doesn't want you to know that you can walk around with your asshole caked in shit, and that's why I can do it. People, it's not illegal to smell like shit, is it? They didn't want you to know that you can shit yourself and walk around and like it's like this. It's like, okay, I mean, you can do it. That's one aspect. The second aspect is that they don't know anything about how anything works because the world is so complicated now. It's just like LEDs. What the does that stand for? I'm trying to think of a joke and I can't even think of one. Something retarded. Like everything is too complicated, so you can invent a conspiracy to explain everything. It winds in nicely with the not believing in any third-party institutions. This is why they would never be able to build or achieve or accomplish anything. And also, by the way, these people aren't builders, they aren't achievers, and they aren't accomplishers. These types of people are drags on society that the rest of us have to drag along with us, okay, in order to accomplish anything, all right? These are not the Einsteins and the Oppenheimers and the whatever. These are the retards, okay, that are flinging shit from you on the side of the road because they don't believe in sanitized water or whatever. They're complaining that the fluoride is rotting their brains. All right, something is. I don't know. It's not the water though. This is why I want them to go away and go somewhere else. And let's see what you come up with. Show me what you come up with in 50 years because the answer will be nothing. They won't come up with anything. They don't believe in anything. They have
this dude Destiny just said that Joe Rogan will never build anything. Is he crazy? I would love to see their net worths compared. Or you could just look at their follower count, or the fact that Joe Rogan has 2 or really 3 separate professions that he is top tier at. Like, he is one of the most famous comedians. Whether or not you think he's one of the best or not is irrelevant. He's one of the most famous comedians. He's a UFC commentator, probably the most well-known one, if not the best one. And he's also the #1 podcast in the world and has been for the last 5 or so years. Destiny is not #1 at anything. And I don't really want to go at the guy too much because he has more followers than me if we're doing that kind of measuring contest. But whenever you're saying that someone like Joe Rogan will never build anything, the dude has built multiple empires. What the hell are you talking about? Matt Walsh has built something that's larger than Destiny as well. Most people who align with Joe Rogan on these issues have built something. Or, you know, the people who go on Joe Rogan's podcast and align with him on these issues have built something. You know, I don't see many leftists building anything because every time they you know, whenever leftists think about something being successful, they just want to tear it down in the name of equality. Like, no, you can't be successful because you have to fail like me. Because if I fail, everybody must fail. You know, if I'm broke, everybody must be broke. You know, so I think that the right wingers and the conspiracy theorists have a higher chance of building things because they actually believe in capitalism. And Joe Rogan is a prime example of that. Like, to take that stance whenever you're reacting and melting down about something that Joe Rogan said, you're taking the stance of these people will never build anything. Are you kidding me, dude? Like I said, I would love to see their net worths compared. I'm sure Joe Rogan is over 100 million. And I know Destiny's a millionaire, but he's not a 100 millionaire. No way.
No spiritual foundation because they all fake their religious beliefs. Apparently, they're all fucking Christian now. They have no intellectual grounding, okay? They don't know anything about how to even arrive at a true statement or what it means for a statement to be true. They have no respect for third-party institutions, even though they all relentlessly use them, right? These are the same people like, oh, I don't believe the vax because it wasn't tested. Monoclonal antibodies. Oh, pump me full, doctor. Like, God, I hate these people. God, I hate these people.
Even a little complex. It's really complex. There's a documentary called The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. This guy, Bart Sibrel, he's been obsessed. He was a guest on the show, too. Been obsessed about this his whole life and absolutely believes we never went to the moon. And there's enough shit that you go, okay, if he's right about any of these things, it's weird. One of the things was some of the photographs of the moon, they ran through one of those AI detectors that can tell you whether or not something's false or artificially generated. And it showed different images from, I think it was a Chinese satellite of the moon. They said this is legitimate. But then it got to these Apollo images and they said these have been doctored. This is AI, this AI program that
all
they
the
ran.
Images or a few of them?
A few of them.
Like, think about what you're saying here, right? I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything about us being able to go to the moon, but I trust LLM. I trust programs that programmers don't even understand the code of that can run simulations on millions or
if you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
tens of millions or hundreds of millions of times across data sets in order to analyze things and then try to come to some sort of like answer to ascertain whether or not something is true or false in a way that we thought only humans could do, like as recently as 10 years ago. You believe these things. You trust, like, but it's, oh, okay. It's the idea that you would say, the problem is people just don't understand. No offense, okay? And I'm not trying to knock any rocket scientists, okay, out there, okay? Not trying to piss anybody off, okay? Rockets are, you put the fuel in the thing and you shoot the rocket at a place, okay? And adding a little capsule and put some humans on is impressive. Okay, the cell phone, this represents like an exponential increase in human technology. Creating a cell phone or creating like these language models. This is infinitely more complex than firing a fucking rocket at the moon with some people in it and then having them come back. This is infinitely more complex. But you don't understand it because you take it for granted. When's the last time you saw a rocket ship launch? Right? Probably never. You know. When's the last time you handle a phone? Every single day. So phones are probably not that complicated, and rockets are spooky. Like when people talk about the space age, you know that like the space age is in the past, right? Like we're beyond that. We're not in the space age anymore. That was like the 20th century. We're over it. The CPU in your phone has...
Once again, I will just bring to attention that Destiny should not have any personal, he's not invested personally. He shouldn't be in us going to the moon or not. His only personal investment is that he is on team establishment. Like, that's it. Everybody has chosen their team nowadays, and anybody who goes against your team is just the enemy, even when it makes no sense for someone like Destiny to stand up and have a meltdown about what Joe Rogan is saying here. I don't know if he's just doing it for content or if there's some other reasoning behind it, but like, why is Destiny so triggered just because Joe Rogan is saying there's some questions about these things? He's not even saying definitively if it did or didn't happen. He's just saying, hey, there's a documentary out there of a guy who did the documentary, and he's fully convinced that the moon landing didn't happen. What is wrong with saying that? I don't understand why the huge meltdown from Destiny here. I just don't get it. Unless, number one, it's just for content and he just wants some content. Or number two, he's just fully brainwashed, full-blown establishment, like just all the way gone. I don't know. Let me know in the comments which one you think it is.
Many times the processing capacity and memory of every computer that existed in 1969 combined. Yeah. Okay. Or I didn't mean dismissively. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not even close. I'm pretty sure like collectively it was like megabytes maybe of data across the entirety of what could have been stored across all the drives of those early Apollo missions, of all the Apollo missions.
Wait, doesn't that prove Joe Rogan's point a little bit more? The fact that we didn't have the computer power that we have currently back then? Doesn't that kind of prove his point a little bit? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about Destiny having this meltdown, about what Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh were talking about on the Joe Rogan Experience, just talking about the moon landing and just the establishment in general and the lies that we're told. I don't know. Why do you think this is that Destiny is having this meltdown? Let me know in the comments what you think about Destiny versus Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh situation.